Hello all, I am Ritesh Chauhan, working as an assistant professor in Computer Engineering Department at Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center, Navsari. As our first unit is completed, now we proceed with unit 2, that is lexical analyzer, which is the first phase of the compiler. So the first topic is role of lexical analysis, or we can say how parser, that is syntax analysis, and scanner, that is lexical analysis, will communicate. So let's understand the role of lexical analysis with the help of figure. So the main task of lexical analysis is to read input character from the source code and produce token. Lexical analyzer scans the entire source code of the program. Then the get next token command is sent from parser to the lexical analyzer. On receiving this command, the lexical analyzer scans the input until it finds the next token and it returns the first token to the parser, and the process continues till the end of the program. Also, entries of identifier will be reported to the symbol table. Lexical analyzers keeps white space and comments while creating these tokens. If any error is present in the program, then lexical analyzer will correlate that error with the source file and line number. So, the lexical analyzer scans the program and get next token is sent by the parser to get the token from lexical analyzer. After this, parser is given as an input. So parseTree is given as an input to the next phase. What is our next phase? It is a semantic analysis. So why to separate lexical analysis and parser? Because the simplicity in design, it also improves the compiler efficiency, and it also enhances the portability of the compiler. So the next topic is token, pattern and lexeme. Let's see one by one. So what is token? Token is a sequence of character which have a collective meaning. Suppose I write integer a, then the token is keyword for integer and identifier for small a. These keywords and identifier is called token. So typical tokens are identifier, keywords, operators, special symbols and constants. But how this token is identified? For that there is a pattern. So there is a pattern to identify tokens with the help of some rules. For example, if I write integer a, then pattern identify by checking the rule for integer and a. After checking, it reports that int is a keyword and small a is an identifier. So small a is an identifier. It has pattern has some rules. For example, for identifier, as we know, it not start with number. First letter must be alphabet or underscore. White space and special characters is not allowed. So after checking this all the things, small a is identified as an identifier. Next, what is lexeme? The sequence of character in a source program matched with a pattern for a token is called lexeme. For example, if I write integer a, now integer and a is two different lexemes which checks with pattern and identifies the token, that integer is a keyword and small a is an identifier. For example, here we have two identifiers, one constant and one is operator. This one is identifier, operator and constant. So these lexemes are checked with the pattern. Suppose this rate is checked with pattern and then identifies that it's a identifier. Similarly, diet is also checked with pattern and identifies that it is an identifier. Then plus is identified by then plus is checked by this pattern and then identifies that it is an operator. Similarly, for 100 that it's a constant. Let's understand with the help of example how token is generated with the help of lexeme and pattern. Let's take the statement total equal to sum plus 45. So what lexemes do is it separate this total equal to sum plus and 45, then checks with the pattern to form a token. So here the lexemes for identifier are total and sum, lexemes for operator is equal to and plus, lexemes for constant is 45. Now how token is formed? This first total is checked with the rules associated with pattern that what actually total is. Then it forms a token that total is an identifier. So how this is identified? It is identified with the help of pattern, which have some rules to identify any lexemes. Then equal to is identifies as operator with the help of pattern. Sum is identifies as an identifier. Plus is identifies as an operator with the help of pattern, which have some rules to check this lexemes plus. Then it reports that it's an operator. Similarly for 45, it identifies that it's a constant. So these all are called token, which have some collective meaning. Okay. Let's see one another example. Suppose this code is fed to the lexical analyzer, which separates the lexeme and form the token. Then this integer is separated. Then maximum is separated as a lexeme. Then this opening bracket is separated. Then integer int, then x, then comma, then integer and y. This integer is separated, then it checks with the pattern, which have some rules, and identifies that integer is a keyword. For example, this integer is a keyword. Then this maximum is identified as an identifier. Then opening bracket as an operator. Then integer is a keyword. Then x is as an identifier. Then comma is an operator. Then integer, y, and so on. Okay. So this type of question is also asked in examination. So take some C code and form the lexemes and token. So the next topic is input buffering, which is very important for your examination. So let's see how input buffering works in compiler. Lexical analyzer scans the input from left to right, one character at a time, from the secondary storage, that is from our hard disk, when we store or save the program, which is costly and also time consuming for the compiler. Therefore, some amount of program or a block of data is first read into a buffer and then scanned by the lexical analyzer to form a token. For that, it uses two pointer. First one is begin pointer, BP, and second one is forward pointer, FP, to keep the track of the portion of the input string scanned. And also the string character between these two pointer is the current lexeme. So in buffering system, initially both the pointer points to the beginning of the lexeme as shown in below figure. Here we can see that both the pointer FP and BP is set on the first character of the input string. Now the forward pointer moves ahead to search for the end of the lexeme. So as soon as the blank space is encountered, it indicates end of the lexeme. As I told earlier, blank space and comments are skipped by the lexical analyzer. Okay, this point you have to keep in mind, that blank space and comment are skipped by the lexical analyzer. So in this example, forward pointer FP encounters blank space, so the lexeme, this integer, is identified. Now the forward pointer will be moved ahead by ignoring the white space. Then both the beginning pointer and forward pointer are set at the next lexeme. Okay, so this is a concept of input buffering. Let's see its types. So there are mainly two types of techniques for input buffering. First one is buffer pairs. It is also known as one buffer scheme. Second one is sentinels. It is also known as two buffer scheme. Let's see one by one. So the first technique is buffer pair. In this technique, the input buffer are divided into two halves or in two parts of n characters, where n is the number of character and it usually the size of the buffer. In this method, pointer reads n input character into each half. If forward pointer is at the end of the first buffer, then the second half is filled with the n character and the process continues. Also, if the input has less than n bytes, suppose the input string finish here, then it put a special EOF marker in the buffer so that it will inform to the compiler that it is the end of the statement. Let's understand with the example. So as I said earlier, that if FP pointer points here at the end of the first half, then second half is loaded. Also, if the string is less than n character, then special EOF marker is used that tells the compiler that it's an end of the statement. Now let's see how buffer pair is implemented in this statement. So first, this first half is filled with n character. Then BP and FP are set at the beginning of the statement, that is here. Now forward pointer checks that is it the end of the first half? No. Then it forward to the next character. Now once again FP checks that is it the end of the first half? No. Then it forward to the next character. This process continues till the end of the first half. Also lexemes are separated between the process. So when the forward pointer points or reached here at this point, it checks is it the end of the first half? Yes. Then it loads the second half with n character and forward pointer points to the beginning of the second half. Now forward pointer is pointing here to the beginning of the second half. So in this example, when lexeme rate is found, then beginning and forward pointer points here. Then FP checks for the first half and reloads the second half. Okay, because it is the end of the first half, it reloads second half. Then it proceeds to find next lexeme. When it reaches to 3, then forward pointer reaches to the 3, then exponential operator is found as a lexeme. As we know, rate into 3 means rate raised to 3. It's an exponential operator. It is found as a lexeme. Then FP and BP, that is forward pointer and beginning pointer points here at the number 3 and next lexeme was found. I think you understand the concept. फिर भी मैं एक बार और समझा देता हूं. पहले बफर पेयर क्या होगा, 2 हाफ में डिवाइड होगा, फिर स्ट्रिंग पहले फर्स्ट हाफ में इंसर्ट होगी. जब FP यहां होगा फॉरवर्ड पॉइंटर, तब चेक करेगा कि क्या ये फर्स्ट हाफ का एंड है. अगर है तो क्या करेगा, नेक्स्ट हाफ को लोड करेगा. ओके, एंड FP यहां पॉइंट करेगा एट द बिगिनिंग ऑफ द सेकेंड हाफ एंड प्रोसेस कंटिन्यूज टू फाइंड द लेक्सिंग. अगर इनपुट स्ट्रिंग छोटा है फर्स्ट या सेकेंड हाफ से, तो ये स्पेशियल मार्कर EOF इंक्लूड होगा एट द एंड ऑफ द स्टेटमेंट. तो इससे क्या पता चलेगा कंपाइलर को कि यहां पे आपका स्टेटमेंट खत्म हो रहा है. नेक्स्ट, अब आप सोच रहे होंगे कि सर ये सेकेंड हाफ भी फुल हो गया, तो अगर स्टेटमेंट बड़ा हुआ तो क्या होगा, तो फर्स्ट हाफ लोड होगा फिर से और स्ट्रिंग उस पर रीराइट होगी. डिलीट करके स्ट्रिंग लोड नहीं होगा, रीराइट होगा. और जब स्ट्रिंग खत्म होगी तब EOF मार्कर is used at the end of the string by this technique. Okay, now suppose FP points here, then FP checks that is it the end of the first half, no. Then it checks is it the end of the second half, no. If both is not true, then it forwards the pointer. Okay, therefore it will checks two condition before increment the forward pointer. Let's see the algorithm. So let's say the algorithm to advance the forward pointer. So first is, if forward pointer FP is at end of the first half, then it reloads second half and put the forward pointer at the beginning of the second half by FP equal to FP plus 1. If it is not at the end of the first half, then it checks that FP is at the end of the second half. If yes, then it reloads the first half as I said earlier and set the FP, that is forward pointer, to the beginning of the first half. If forward pointer is not at the end of the first half, not at the end of the second half, then and only then forward pointer increment by 1. So यहाँ पे बेसिकली हो क्या रहा है, फॉरवर्ड पॉइंटर को एक स्टेप आगे चलने के लिए क्या करना पड़ रहा है, 2 टेस्ट करने पड़ रहे हैं कि वो फर्स्ट हाफ के एंड पे है या नहीं है, चेक करता है. सेकेंड हाफ के एंड पे है या नहीं है, चेक करता है. उसके बाद ही क्या करता है, फॉरवर्ड पॉइंटर को इंक्रीमेंट करता है. लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड विद एग्जांपल. सपोज फॉरवर्ड पॉइंटर यहाँ पे, फिर वो क्या चेक करेगा, इज इट द एंड ऑफ द फर्स्ट हाफ, चेक करेगा, नो, दिस इज नॉट द एंड ऑफ द फर्स्ट हाफ. Else if forward pointer is at the end of second half, no, it is not at the end of second half, then forward pointer scans the next character. So this is the disadvantage of buffer pair, that it takes 2 tests for each advance of forward pointer. Okay, this will be overcome, this problem will be overcome by the second method, that is sentinel. Let's see that method. So as we see that in buffer pair, to advance a pointer we must have to make 2 tests. But in sentinel, to overcome these 2 tests, we add extra EOF character at the end of each half, at the end of first half, at the end of second half as a sentinel. So what is sentinel? Sentinel means which indicates ends of the buffer. So as an end of a buffer we use EOF. So the sentinel is a special character that cannot be the part of the source program. So each buffer half will extend to hold a sentinel EOF. So as we see in buffer pair, there is an end of file at the end of the statement, but in sentinel there is a EOF as a sentinel at each half at first half also at the end EOF will be there, and in second half also EOF will be there as a end of buffer. So this technique optimizes the code by reducing the number of tests to 1 per advance of forward pointer. Let's see how. Here you can see we add extra EOF character at the end as a sentinel, in the first half also, in the second half also. It is not a part of our program. Now here FP will increment by 1. In this method FP will directly increment by 1 and then check, is it at the EOF? No. Then it scans the next character. Is it the FP, is it at the EOF? No. Again it will scan the next character and process continues. And once it reach here, then it checks, is it at the EOF? Yes. Then it checks, is forward pointer is at the end of the first half? Yes. Then it reloads the second half. Okay. Similarly, when it reach in this EOF, then it checks, is it the end of the first half? No. Is it the end of the second half? No. Then compiler recognize that it's an end of the statement. So now terminate the program. So in buffer pair scheme, to advance the pointer, 2 tests will be done. While in sentinel, only 1 test will be done to increment the forward pointer by including sentinel on both the first and second half. Now let's see the algorithm how sentinel advance the forward pointer. Here FP is incremented by 1 directly and then checks that is FP is equal to EOF. If not, then directly FP is once again incremented by 1. And if the forward pointer is equal to EOF, then it checks that FP is at end of first half. If yes, then reload the second half and increment FP by 1. If not, then it checks, is it at the end of second half? If yes, then it reloads the first half and set the FP to the beginning of the first half. If it is not at the end of first half and not at the end of second half, then the procedure terminate the lexical analysis. So compiler recognize it is the end of the statement. So in this video, we see how lexical analyzers separate lexemes by input buffering techniques so that lexemes will match with the pattern and form the tokens. So in next video, we are going to proceed with the topic regular expression. Thank you.